Hi everyone, it's John Mitchell and welcome to the last video of Area of Study 3, and we're going to look at global considerations in operations, which is the last point in our study design. Now many businesses will look beyond their own borders, outside of their home country when looking to run their operations system. And that enables the business to take advantage of a number of things, including being able to use higher quality materials, strategic locations so that they can transport their goods or services to locations across the globe in a much faster manner, cheaper inputs using global talent, and a whole range of things that the business can take advantage of to really improve their operations system. So what we're going to do in this video is go through the global strategies that are listed in our study design. And the first one is global sourcing of inputs. So global sourcing of inputs is a strategy where a business sources its inputs. So remember, inputs are the resources used to create a product from countries outside its place of origin. Businesses can do it for a number of reasons, because maybe another country has higher quality materials or higher quality inputs. It could be that they're cheaper. It could be that they make use of cheaper labor and also making use of lower taxes in other countries, which can be a real benefit and reduce the overall costs of the operation system. So some examples of businesses that source inputs globally include Telstra making use of foreign call centers where they're using foreign employees, Costa Group sourcing oranges from California when the oranges are out of season in Australia. You can purchase an orange virtually any time in Australia now, but they're not grown in Australia. They're out of season in Australia, so they get them from overseas. And also Boeing, when they actually build their planes, they source parts from other countries, including France, South Korea, Australia, Japan, and there's a whole range of countries that they source different parts from. The next global strategy is overseas manufacture. So overseas manufacture or manufacturing is where a business actually produces its goods in a country that is different to the location of its headquarters. So rather than just getting raw materials or parts from overseas, now they decide to actually manufacture the product overseas. And manufacturing overseas allows the business to reduce costs, because Australia's labour costs are quite high in terms of, on a global scale, they're quite high, and so they can reduce labour costs. It also gets their products to the market quicker, because what happens with Australia, we're very isolated and we're a long way away from other continents, and so being able to strategically locate the manufacturing facility in a different area or in another country can enable Australian businesses to manufacture the product and get it to the market quicker than they could if they manufactured in Australia. So the next strategy is global outsourcing. Global outsourcing is where part of a business's operations is handed over to another person or business located in a different country. So it's not the whole business goes overseas, but they can outsource part of the business. And what they will do is they'll often outsource non-core activities, which allows the Australian business to reduce costs, make use of global expertise which improves quality. So it could be, again, with call centers, that there are call centers overseas where they actually specialize in that, or they specialize in manufacturing or accounting, and they can make use of that particular expertise. It also allows the business then to focus on their core activities, which can improve productivity. So whatever it is that they do best in their core business, they can focus on that, and they can outsource the other elements of the business to another area or to another person or another business overseas. Now, the final strategy in our study design is supply chain management. Supply chain management is the process of managing the flow of supplies from the supplier through the operation system, where they're obviously transformed into a final product, and then to the end consumer. So it's that whole flow from supplier through the operation system and to the end consumer, because every good or service that reaches an end consumer represents a cumulative effort of multiple businesses. You have electricity businesses, you have the suppliers, you have transportation businesses, etc., etc. And businesses that make up the supply chain are all linked together, because what happens is that a final or a good or service is actually produced, and there's a whole cumulative effort that's linked together in order to create that final good or service. And if one of those links fails or costs rise, then it impacts the end product. So it's crucial that a business manages the whole supply chain. So every business that is involved in producing that end product, it's important that they are managed in the most appropriate manner so that costs can be reduced, but also quality and value can be maintained to the consumer. Now, businesses need to look beyond their own four walls, because what's happened in the past is that businesses have looked at exactly what they do within their own facility and look to reduce costs and look to improve quality. Now, that's obviously important, but they also need to look beyond their own four walls and see where costs and quality can be improved throughout the entire supply chain, because there are many other businesses involved. They need to look at electricity, they need to look at water, they need to look at transportation and supplies and all those other businesses that are involved in producing either directly or indirectly the end product, and how they can look to reduce costs and also maintain or improve quality. Now, ensuring that the supply chain is efficient, businesses need to do a number of things, and here's just a couple of examples. So one, assess the proximity to suppliers and also to the end consumers, because if suppliers have to travel a long way in order to get to the business, then that's going to increase transportation costs, and that's the exact same thing with transportation to the end consumer. The quality of the supplies, constantly looking at the quality of the materials that are being obtained. The cost of supplies, that needs to be constantly regulated, negotiated for new deals and those types of things. Also, the cost of transportation. It's a major cost to the end product is transportation costs. So businesses need to manage all of those key elements in order to have their supply chain operating in the most efficient manner. So just to recap, businesses are now looking globally to improve their operations, and some possible strategies, and the ones listed in our study design are global sourcing of inputs, overseas manufacturing, global outsourcing, and efficient supply chains. So for questions, activities, and more, then come on over to teachingbubble.com.